All right. Got some more questions we'll go through. Hit like 5 questions maybe. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. 59-year-old male, 5'6", 188 pounds, type 2 diabetic, 22% body fat, currently eating 225 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbs, 150 grams of fat. So he's eating around 3,300 calories on workout days, and when he's not working out, he's eating 2,700 calories. He works out every other day, chest and tries, back and thighs, shoulders, legs. He's on test sleeping aids, 125 milligrams twice a week, DECA 75 milligrams twice a week, CJC with DAC and ipamorelin every day, zero point 0.2 micrograms. I guess that's the dose for both of them. Cannot cannot seem to get rid of the body fat. I understand putting on 8 from test and DECA, just not sure why I'm not seeing better results 5 weeks into this regimen. I'm trying to stay away from junk food and eating pretty clean. The peptides can take a while to see fat loss, and I'm no spring chicken, but I used to put mass on just by looking at a syringe. What might be some things wrong? Any suggestions, cycle-wise, diet, nutrition-wise, would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance. Um, so first off, you're type 2 diabetic, so I mean, I would consider what you're eating on your workout days to be over your maintenance level. I would start eating in a deficit instead of a surplus. Focus on getting your body fat percentage down and stop being type 2 diabetic. You're 59 years old, so this is totally possible your age. Um, let's see. I don't have any pictures, so I really can't see your muscle mass. But the fact that you're on testosterone, DECA, and some peptides, some growth hormone releasing peptides, you don't need that much fat, man, in your diet. So first of all, I would definitely lower the fat. Uh, so let's see. I would lower your fat below 100 for sure. So like 90 grams of fat a day, and minimum or like maximum. You can go below that if you want to a little bit more, but your protein's fine. And then I would up your uh, carbs on your heavy workout days, so like your leg days, is fine, assuming you don't go hypo. So here's the thing, there's not much information. So you're type 2 diabetic. I don't know how often, like how high your blood sugar goes post meal, so post glandular. I don't know a lot of things. So just if it were me, my non-workout days, my calories would be higher because you're recovering that on those days. The workout day that I would have my calories higher would be legs as well. And then the other days I'll keep my calories lower in a deficit. You'll lower your dietary fat under 100, so around 90 grams to, I mean, 75 to 90 grams. You're not using your fats for hormone production because you're on a TRT dose. Um, I would personally, I would get rid of DECA. I don't see a reason why you have DECA in there, besides especially that low of a dose. I mean, that's like joint health, but if you lose the body fat, your joints are going to feel better. And DECA doesn't help with arthritis or osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, which is totally different from the other two. I would switch DECA. You just take it out or switch it to like a masculine. And then I would get rid of the CJC and ipamorelin. They're kind of a waste of money from what I have experienced. I've ran them before. And I was using it more for recovery, not for fat loss, but I would just get growth hormone. And for you being 59, run 2 IUs to 4 IUs a day, and you're going to get way better results. Take it at night and sub-Q for slow release. You do it intramuscularly, you're going to metabolize it faster. So do that. You didn't say if you do cardio. I would definitely look at your cardio, how many steps you're getting in a day. Over 10K steps a day would be great. That's kind of the minimum that I see for everybody. And yeah, that's kind of my suggestions on that. But your carbs can go up higher because type 2 diabetic, you're not dependent on insulin. I would not throw insulin into your diet because then you're using you're taking insulin and then you're trying to catch up with the insulin use by adding more carbs. It's not how it should be. It should be your insulin use is based on your carb intake. Um, so type 1 diabetics use insulin for sure. I'm just not the biggest fan of insulin. I've used it in the past. I've tried it out, and uh, to me, it just I went hypo quickly, but that's just me. And I had to eat a lot of carbs where I felt more nauseous. Um, but for in your case, I just wouldn't throw it in. I would just work on getting less fat. All right. My A1C measured 5.7, pre-diabetic, 40 years old. Um, the glucose levels at the time of test were normal. I don't know what normal is. Uh, I have intentionally gained 15 pounds over the past 12 weeks. With this being, with this in mind, should I be less concerned with pre-diabetic results, given that I'm not eating at maintenance, but was actively eating in surplus? No, man. You have to understand, like having your blood sugar in check and having your insulin sensitivity in check. That's what's going to help with the growth. Um, you're going to be able to assimilate food better and partition it better into the muscle cells rather than as triglycerides or fat or being dumped in the liver. There's some processes of the IGI. So, um, which I brought that up on the last video. It's like the insulinogenic index. So I know a lot of people don't talk about it that way, but that's what helps with the pancreas beta cells to respond to the change in blood glucose. So um, I think that a lot of it is like either an autoimmune problem uh, or it's a life and or it's a lifestyle issue. But I think lifestyles bring on autoimmune diseases, and I think it's like they're one and the same. Like like one helps the other. So. Uh, Going back to this question, this I would like for your A1C, your HbA1c to be 5 under for sure. You can do this with getting back in a calorie deficit to lose the weight gain over the past 12 weeks, just trying to lose the body fat. So again, dropping, I don't know what your diet is, but you're probably eating more fat than what you need to. Drop the fat, you're working out, you want to maintain muscle, build muscle, have better performance in the gym. Carbohydrates are your friend. Keep the protein at least 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And then again, I don't know what your glucose levels being normal, what you mean by that, but my definition of normal glucose levels on a fasted blood panel is 70 to 75. Um, I don't, the high end of 90, I consider that pre-diabetic. If it's 90, I'm like, you're pre-diabetic. It's just the way it is. Um, so there you go on that one. Okay, so this person says, are calories important or is it just protein and carbs that I need to focus on? They're one and the same. Uh, Macronutrients give you calories. Okay, so calorie counting is a poor way to have a better body composition and to build muscle. It just won't happen because that's more of like if it fits your macros. But like Weight Watchers, it's kind of like calorie counting. Um, you can't just swap foods out to keep a calorie maintenance because every calorie is different, every macronutrient is different and how it's burned. So he says, so let's say I need 100 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs daily to keep it simple. So to grow, you would eat 500 to 1,000 calories surplus. Uh, what would happen if I ate the same calories as I do, or even less sometimes, but still get the daily protein and carbs? Would you still grow and gain weight? So yeah, you're manipulating your dietary fat then, right? Um, I always say that you can drop your fat, whether you're enhanced or natural. Your body has enough stored body fat. Usually, if you're trying to follow, if you're dieting for some reason, there's fat on you. If you have no fat, you're not worried about fat intake. I mean, look at teenagers who eat whatever they want to. They're garbage disposals. They'll go and they'll eat a bunch of Chinese food, pizza, ice cream, and they still are skinny and barely any fat on them, right? A lot of us have been through that. And that's all you're talking about, dude. Uh, so yeah, if you want to grow, you got to be in a surplus. Now, what macronutrient are you going to increase to get that surplus? It- Protein is always going to stay the same. I never change protein, whether you're bulking or cutting. I never do. The only time I would start to change it is when you have lean muscle mass already gained. So if you're 200 pounds, let's say I want to have you on 250 grams of protein per day. Let's say that you become 215 pounds now. So maybe you went up to 215. I'm going to increase your protein a little bit. So there's an old saying of like eat the grams of protein for the body weight that you want to be. I don't think it's that crystal clear, but I do believe a surplus of protein, a smaller surplus, is going to benefit you, and it's not going to ruin your appetite to where you can't get in more calories from carbohydrates, which are going to increase performance and increase IGF production. So I would stick your protein always the same right now. And then in the surplus, I would start smaller, 500 calories extra per day, 300 to 500 coming from a carb source. And then I don't know what your fat is, but you can manipulate high days and low days with carbohydrate intake. So you go extra high on carbs and on your high days, and then lower them below a normal day, the low carb days. And your fats, I would just keep the same as well. I try to don't have don't have like dirty meals, so like cheat meals. Just have more of good food, right? So that's what I like. If you're gonna have, let's say you're eating chicken and rice, right? If you want to add more carbs in, throw in some pineapple and then teriyaki sauce on there, right? Or throw in some honey. I mean, these are things that give you extra calories and that really aren't going to expand your stomachs where you're actually adding more food volume. Dates is another thing. Dates, calorically dense, a lot of potassium. So even if you're intaking a little bit more sodium that day from for whatever reason, the potassium will also help with reducing bloating or distension of the gut. So we want to keep our waist smaller and reduce the risk of our waist blowing out, um, whether you're a competitor or not. So this is just general population that I'm talking to. I'm not talking about if you're a bodybuilder or not. Um, that's the route that I would go. So just add in some extra carbs to your meals. Don't add in another meal. And I wouldn't go on a limb and eat like a pizza. A lot of times that disrupts some digestion. But other people, it helps them. But the only people I ever hear that helping are professional bodybuilders or people who are up and coming that have a lot of potential, and it stimulates better digestion for them for some reason. Now, is that because of the way that they train and the PEDs that they're on? I don't know, because I don't think it's a genetics thing. Uh, your body's not like, I'm genetically uh, predisposed to utilize like tons of fats and seed oils and whatever else that you think is bad or dairy. So like I don't think it's a genetic thing. I think it's more of like what are you taking also at the time that you're doing this uh, cheat meal. So don't do cheat meals, just add in extra calories from clean sources and make them small volume additions on those high days for carbohydrates. That will keep you in the surplus because it sucks to eat in surplus all the time. You do want to have days to where what they call carb cycling, where you have like a day of lower carbs or lower food in general. I'm a bigger fan of lower food in general. Just let your stomach have a rest. I mean, I talk about this many times. I think it's going to be more beneficial to you, and it helps with gut integrity as well. So that's it. Okay, this dude, are there any benefits of peanut butter? It's been eating 2 to 3 peanut butter sandwiches using Ezekiel bread to my diet before or to my diet after lifting before my 3 meals of chicken and rice. Been trying to stay consistent and staying away from snacking. Is there a benefit of having peanut butter in your diet, or is there um, has anyone had has anyone that you basically has anybody that you've coached had a bad experience with this? Just wondering if it'll help with my cravings of sugar, but I don't want to hinder any weight loss. Okay. I don't use peanut butter in diets. I really don't like to, unless the person is just like very anal about always having peanut butter, which I typically don't want to work with you unless I trust that you know how to measure peanut butter coming from a jar. There was someone I was working with that he did have peanut butter, but I trusted him that he knew how to measure it, and the the body composition reflected it as if he did. So, but I don't trust general population with measuring out peanut butter or adding on 1 or 2 tablespoons extra every single day. It's a lot of fat added. The reason why I'm not a big fan of peanut butter, um, it's a legume. It's not a nut. There's really nothing beneficial from the peanuts. I would go with almond butter, walnut butter, or macadamia nut butter if you're going to use any type of nut butters. I'm just not a fan. I would rather get my fat from somewhere else if I have to have it. Add it in. I mean, if you don't have a high histamine response to avocado, I would go with avocado because there's a lot more nutrients in there as well. Um, and plus it adds the fiber. It has some protein in there, but again, I don't count that as protein. Protein comes from meat or whey protein sources or protein powders. Um, and the type of bread doesn't matter in my opinion. Just, if you want to eat Wonder Bread, whatever. I don't think sprouted bread really has any difference. I know there's a huge thing about sourdough bread, um, like like anabolic sourdough bread, but sourdough's been around for however long. I mean, it's nothing special, man. Um, just eat whatever bread you freaking want to eat. Put it on a tortilla, put it on naan bread. I don't care. But I just don't like that source of fat. I'd rather have add liquid macadamia nut oil on my chicken and rice meal. Um, but it's not going, it could trigger cravings also. So it's not going to get rid of them. Like just because you eat something and and fall victim to your craving isn't going to stop you from having another craving. It's going to continue to build upon that craving. But I like if you live with a woman, you fully understand, right? There's these cravings that go on, like, oh, I'm craving this, I have to eat this. No, you don't. No, like you can blame it on, your cycle, but it, that's not the reason why. Like, there's no way that our ancestors. nomadic people were like, oh, I'm craving chocolate. I have to eat chocolate because I'm on my period. Oh my gosh. What did they do? I guess they just killed themselves and there's no women. So how do we have women still alive? You know what I mean? It's just that you've been subdued and subjected to having this sweet uh, snack in your diet, and now you've created an addiction. So cravings are just because you're dieting, probably. You don't say if you're dieting on here. Cravings because you're dieting and you have some gut disimbalance, so gut dysbiosis. A lot of those cravings come from that, and because it causes an imbalance of serotonin and dopamine. So you're trying to get, uh, like maybe your dopamine has dropped. You want to get a dopamine hit, balance out serotonin. I mean, food has an addictive trait to it. It's not just because of the serotonin release of eating the food. But for some people, when you're binging, it's a dopamine high. All right, enough of that. I hate peanut butter, so whatever. For the past several years, I've done a cut, April to May, starting out close to 200 pounds, getting pretty shredded down to 180. Ooh. Past 4 years, I've experienced bad cramping in both of my lower legs at night. After about a month into each cut, I will have to get out of bed and go back and forth, stretching my calves and muscle tissues and muscles. Yeah, okay. On front lower leg, like your tibia. I don't know. The the night cramps normally last through July. I eat really clean, lots of veggies, and in my eyes, I intake enough salt. If I drink more water, I'd really be pissing in the middle of the night. I take 3 grams of taurine pre-workout. I typically get off creatine in May for the rest of the summer. It hasn't happened this year yet, but sometimes I will cramp so hard the muscles will get sore the next day. I don't take any diuretics. Do I just need drink? Do I need to be drinking some electrolyte drink, sugar-free, electrolyte pills, more stretching? Any suggestions? First of all, you're cutting. Are you a PED user? Are you taking ephedrine? Are you taking clenbuterol? Anything to increase muscle contractions? Um, 3 grams of taurine isn't going to do much for you, dude. I would take like 4 grams to 6 grams at night before you go to bed, anyways. It seems to be able to help with serotonin production. And uh, if you drink more water without electrolytes, you will be pissing out more salt. So salt chases water. And you say you eat clean, lots of veggies, yada, yada, yada. Again, I don't, there's very vague. I would throw in some, first of all, you don't say how much salt you're intaking. How much salt? There are tests that you can do to see how much you're pissing throughout the day. Um, it's very time consuming. We've done it at UF uh, for physiology and kinesiology. There's like a lab that we had to do and monitor athletes, and that's how we would know how to replenish, how much fluid to replenish, because based on like how much they weigh and also they piss out. But you have to measure your piss. So um, you don't want to do that, right? Carrying around a piss jug everywhere with a little scale. Um, so measure your salt, see how much salt you're intaking. You're eating really clean, you're not eating processed foods. That means that you're not getting any more salt in. So you've been having all this salt. So your aldosterone system is probably used to a certain amount of salt. Like what was your diet before all this? Were you eating more processed foods that had salt in it, plus you're adding salt into the food that you're already eating? That's the first thing that people do when they start on these clean diets or cutting diets is that they reduce a lot of or get rid of completely their processed foods, which have a lot of salt in them or they drop a lot of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates helps store water. So every 1 gram of carb has roughly over 3 grams of water stored with it. So now you're losing more water. I don't know. You went from 200 to 180. I don't know. Um, so you've had this all the time for the past 4 years with this cutting experience that you have. So yeah, dude, how much salt are you getting? If you're not getting enough salt, add more salt. They have something called new salt, which is like a salt potassium that can help with replenishing potassium levels. They can add on to all their foods, see if that helps it go away. You can add in dates. The dates are very high in potassium. You can eat them at night before you go to bed. Same thing with a banana. Banana before you go to bed has a lot of B vitamins in there. Helps with serotonin production. So it helps you get ready for bed. Also, a lot of it's not tons of potassium, but I mean, you could eat an avocado. Avocados have a lot of potassium, but then that increases your fat. So, what's your diet like? Can you add in the carbohydrates from dates, bananas, or do you have enough room for your fats to save off at the end of the day for an avocado? Like a medium-sized avocado, have roughly 20 grams of fat in there. Like 20 grams of fat, 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Like they're or 900 or something like they're pretty dense in nutrients. So that's what I would do. I mean, I would also be drinking electrolytes if you're not eating carbohydrates throughout the day. Um, that's something you can do. You can drink Prime or Ghost hydration. They have a lot of potassium in there. Or you can drink Gatorade if you're not getting enough salt through your diet. So the choice of journey is up to you, dude. Okay. How about, I wish this thing had a clock on here. I don't know how long I've been on. All right. Osteoarthritis in my shoulder. Please help me. My doctor diagnosed me with osteoarthritis in my shoulder. I've been lifting 5 years. Love going as heavy as possible. Love lifting. And when I heard this, I was worried. My shoulder is now a ticking time bomb. Clicks like a mother effer, but has no trouble completing workouts and still gets steady gains. Somebody ease my mind. Terrified. Have you experienced this? Oh, I want somebody to ease my mind. My doctor is not doing it. Have you had any experience with this? Okay. Um, I'm so like to be diagnosed with this, you already had x-rays, you had MRIs, so you know what's inside your shoulder. If there was a floater, like a calcium deposit that was somewhere within I don't know if you're talking about rotator cuff. Are you talking about supraspinatus, infraspinatus, labrum? I don't know what you're talking about. Probably like a labrum, I would say. I don't know. Is there any? You say that you have no trouble completing a workout, but how is your range of motion? So you can go on YouTube. You can find rotator cuff range of motion self diagnosis. Uh, Same thing with um, supraspinatus, infraspinatus. Uh, um, AC joints, labrum. There's a lot of different ones that you can look up. You can go through this range of motion, these little tests like empty bucket handle tests and whatever, right? Whatever hurts, that's probably where the issue is. But your doctor should have told you that, assuming he's a good orthopedic. If he's not, I would go to a sports orthopedic. Um, but are you completing your workouts with good range of motion? Um, like good mobility, not flexibility, but good mobility. Because whatever, and I don't know how much load you're using. So like you didn't give me an example of a lift and how much you were lifting to complete that lift. So knowing that would be beneficial for me. Um, but I would just say do those tests. If the doctor didn't do those, figure out what it is. The MRIs should have shown if there was a calcium deposit somewhere that was causing the clickings, like a spur, and they can go in arthroscopically and they can clean it up. Um, and then it's an outpatient procedure, and you'd be good to go. And you probably go to a little bit of physical therapy, and because the insurance will cover it, so do it like 4 weeks and continue following their guidelines. But from what I've seen, you know, 3 to 4 weeks post-op if you have an arthroscopic uh, surgery to clean that out if there's a calcium deposit. So but clicking just happens, man. Uh, I don't know if you ever seen um, there's a video of like or when you pop your knuckles, there's like that bubble that's in between the joints. Like, does that sound happen before the bubble pops or after the bubble pops? Like they don't really know. So that's a pretty cool one if you want to go look at look at it. Okay. Last question. All right, dude. Currently on TOT between 130 to 150 a week. 150 has been my sweet spot. However, the past 7 weeks post-op from a double hernia operation, I'm not trained except for low intensity exercise. Started taking 500 milligrams of TUDCA twice daily. At higher doses was causing me GI distress. Uh, what are you taking for TUDCA year round? So I do take TUDCA. I think I talked about this. That's why you're asking this question. And you want to know if you need to take it on empty stomach or first thing in the morning. Well, first thing in the morning, your stomach is pretty empty. So that's I take 500 milligrams. I split it 250, 250 because I buy it in 250 milligram capsules because you're getting less TUDCA than what the capsules are saying. So you're not getting 500 milligrams, you're getting less um, of the actual TUDCA itself. I split mine up, and one of them I take on an empty stomach. No, scratch that, because I have a protein, like I have 20 grams of protein with it. So I take it with a 20 grams of whey protein. Uh, and the other one I have with my post post exercise meal. Um, yeah, take it with or without food, man. It doesn't matter. I would just say, I don't know what brand you're using. Are they even using TUDCA? There's a lot of brands out there that don't use TUDCA. Leviathan is a really good one. Revive has it in their liver care. Apollon has it in their liver care. NutriBio has it in their liver care. Allmax sells it by itself. Unbound has it by itself. I don't really know about NutriCost. They seem pretty ethical, so I would say try them. I think there's a company called like Doublewood or something. I think they're pretty ethical. But if you're buying it and it seems pretty cheap, I wouldn't buy it. The only person that sells it really cheap that I've seen is NutriCost uh, and that Doublewood, but I think they just sell in volume so they can handle making such a small profit margin on that. So do what you want. I don't know why you're taking it. I mean, whatever. You have liver problems. I mean, that's the reason why I take it. I think TUDCA should be taken with people that have liver issues and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I think it should be taken if you have type 2 diabetes while you're cutting the fat off of you to get out of type 2 diabetes. And you should be taking it if you're on gear on the cycle. That's it. That's it, folks. That's all we have today. And I am out of here.